Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good evening, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors. This is the closing bell, October 19, 2022. Shout out to my daughter, Kylie. Happy 19th birthday. The third show today. Earlier this morning, Hakeem the Dream Ski Prophet starts us off with some great NBA takes. And, he opened my eyes. If you're not on the Cleveland Cavaliers, jump in there. Plus 300 to win the division. Yeah, we expect the Bucks to, but that's a great price for them. Take a look at their team win total. We like them over. We like them as a dark horse, as everyone is talking about the Celtics, the 76ers, the Nets. What do the Heat do? What do the Bulls do? What do the Raptors do? No one talking about this Cleveland team, and he really, really opened up my eyes there. But let's bring in Southside Riley before we lose. I don't know what happened. I am as dumb as a bag of bricks when it comes to this technology crap. I'm sitting here. I can hear Riley. I can hear. I can't hear. I'm getting all nervous. I make my debut tonight on Sports Grid with the one and only Dubs Anderson at 11:20 Eastern time to 11:30. I don't know if it defaulted. Who the hell knows? But let's bring him on, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. What is up?
What is up, my friend? Take number 2, Wednesday afternoon. I'm still feeling great. Now I definitely know what day it is if I didn't know the first time around. So, take 2 is going to be a better one. We're already off to a hot start. So while we, in the interim of us trying to figure things out, 4-2. Phillies over the Padres now, back-to-back with the Pods. Nola, I don't know. Nola might be in for a tough one here today. He might have a short leash come this next inning. But I don't know about you. I don't know if you want to get right into it or not. But this Padres-Phillies series going back to Philly after this, do you feel like they have to come back and win this game if they want a chance, the Padres, or do you think they have the personnel to come out of a 2-0 hole?
Well, off the top of my head, I guess it'd be Suarez versus Clevenger. Am I correct there?
I'm going to pull it up real quick. That sounds about right. Let's see. Game 3 would be, I've got Musgrove versus Suarez right now.
Okay. So, as I started to say, and I'll say it for the last time, I got cute. On our alert last night, I clearly stated I like the Phillies here to win the series. They were plus 105. So what I did is say, okay, let's take Darvish last night. Mm-hmm. Let's get the Padres to a 1-0 lead in the series. Let's double back tonight and take the Phillies plus 150, 160 in the series. I felt comfortable there. Egg on my face. Phillies, 2 lefties leave the park. Harper just gets one over the left field wall, and Schwarber hit one from San Diego to the Mass Pike. It still hasn't landed. One hit, 1-0 lead. This team I have talked about since that 2-0 deficit, first game against the Cardinals. They remind me of that Nationals team. They remind me of that Red Sox team. 4-0 lead. Padres get 2 back, so there's still life in this game. Now, back at Philly, that place is rocking. It's electric. I do lean Musgrove of Suarez now, and we do know about that back end. So put it this way. If the Phillies hold on here, I still think the Padres are alive because I expect them to get game 3.
Sure.
If the Phillies lose this game, I still lean Padres in game 3. Now we can circle back the wagons, get that plus price. Now they still got to win 3 out of the next 4 games. So that's my take. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think I'm not calling them dead by any means because I agree with you. Musgrove, the way he's been pitching, I expect him to be kind of continue that and have a nice one I think it's Friday, regardless in Philly. So I'm with you there. But I do think they, if they fall into this 2-0 hole, you got 3 straight games in Philly. It's the 2-3-2 format. So I think that falling into a 2-0 hole in that situation becomes that much more dangerous. So I think they got to get this one. If they if they get this one, then it's anybody's game. But and it's again, they're not dead. But if the Phillies go up 2-0 with 3 games at home, the way things are, the air is feeling in Philly, I'll lean towards the Phillies in 5 or 6 for sure there.
So we got the 2-3-2 set up here, and so talking this out loud, if the Phillies hold on here, I expect the Padres to get game 3. And then, again, Wheeler looked unhittable. We talk all during the year. We expect regression after a game like that. They haven't seen Hader yet, so we'll see how this one comes. Even with a Padre win here, so play this one out. Padres come back and win this game. They take game 3. They're up 2-1.
Yeah.
I think the Phillies scratch and claw, and it comes back to San Diego either which way for a game 6.
Sure. No, I could buy that for sure. And then obviously maybe if San Diego gets the energy, they can get two in a row or close it out if they can get this one then for sure. So I think we're for the most part on the same page here. But I don't know. When you popped out for a second on take number 1, I did mention it was still 4-0, but you always talk about this Phillies back end as the one team that could definitely relinquish a 4-0 or 4-2 lead here in the playoffs. So I think we're on the same page here. I don't know. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you to go. What is the in-game line right now?
Let's see. It was when it was 4-1. It was 275. It's 215 right now, plus 215 for the Phils or for the Padres. Excuse me, for the Padres.
Anyone watching and listening right now, I would take a bite of the apple. I would take a shot at the plus 215, and I would feel comfortable with that, knowing that we got to. It's not vintage NOLA. And the fact that we got a back end that we have the edge, we're at home. You didn't die at 4-0. You actually pounced on it.
Yeah.
I like the spot right now with the Padres live right now.
All right, it's jumping all over the place as these pitches come in. But 2-1 is about the average there. I'm making sure Castellanos doesn't hit a bomb as soon as I put in my live bet there for a little sprinkle on the Padres there. But no, I think I'm with you. What about tonight's game? What's the going from the weekend plus couple days that the Yankees have had as far as going to 5 games itself? The postponement. I don't know. Do you give the Yankees a chance or, before I say that to you, this actually reminds me so much of, and this is going to be a random callback and I'm going to sound like a homer, 2005, the White Sox only lost 1 game in the playoffs, and it was game 1 of the ALCS. They had the exact same type of situation with all this rest against, it was the LA Angels at the time. And the Angels came in, and I remember I watched the documentary of the season recently, and it's the narrative. They're yawning in the clubhouse because they were up late last night. And I guess not the same case necessarily with the Yankees. It was an afternoon game, but everyone thought the entire fatigue was on. The Yankees were going to be, or the Angels were going to be fatigued, and then the Angels come out and smack the White Sox in the mouth, and then obviously history. The White Sox roll after that, but. Could you see that kind of happening today where everyone thinks the Yankees are, kind of dead for at least 1 game, or do you actually think they might be dead today?
Verlander was a big part of our fantasy $7,500 win. He was a part of a pitching staff that did real, real well. This Astro team is well rested. I was doing a show last night, the Sportsbook Confessions with Dave Sharapan and Brady Tinker. I thought this number would go to this morning, minus 200, plus 180. If you could do me a favor and pull up Verlander's line for his last game.
For his last game? Let's see. Who was that game 1 against the Mariners? Okay, it was minus 245.
And what was his pitching stats?
It wasn't good. I know that for sure. I don't have that right in front of me, but if 81 pitches, 4 innings, 10 hits, 6 earned runs.
Now, if this was the middle of the season, we would sit here and say we expect Cy Verlander here.
Right.
Okay. The line's 180. The Yankees just came off of a grueling 5-game set. They jump in the plane and they head to a well-rested Houston Astro team. There's no trash cans.
Right.
You're a smart man. You were born at night, not last night. With the number the way it reads, you watch Twitter, you watch social media. If I sent you $100 right now via Venmo, who are you supposed to put that $100 on tonight?
Supposed to? Who do they? It sounds like you're kind of leading me into my analogy was potentially in for a repeating itself as far as the Yankees might have a chance tonight. That's where I would go to lead you into that. I would go with the old Yankees. It's not the exact same situation, but yeah, I just remember 2005. It was the Angels had a grueling series against I think it was the Yankees coincidentally, but coming into Chicago and they're yawning in the clubhouse, and then the next thing you know, they smack us in the mouth, and then obviously we recover. So. I still like Houston in the series, but I am kind of buying into what we're talking about here as far as the Yankees might be a little more prepared than people are expecting here.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Phillies and the Braves. The Phillies come in, steal game one, and as soon as I saw Atlanta plus 120 in the series, granted it was only a 5-game series, I said the Braves are going to lose that series. I have Houston to win the AL. I have Houston to win the World Series. I have Houston in that $11,000 parlay. I'm scared shitless because I think something's wrong with Verlander.
Yeah. And if that's the case, then it's not just like he's going to have a rough game today and bounce back in whatever it is, 4, 5, 6, whatever game you see him. Then, yeah, that's kind of the jackknife that can get you if it's not 2 definite starts. It's, a couple shorter ones and maybe a third game 7 emergency bullpen out. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That definitely would concern me a little bit. And you mentioned it when we were talking about recapping the Mariners series. They won all 3 of those games by 1 swing. I mean, the Mariners could have won each and every one of those games if it wasn't for obviously the first 2 games, Mr. Alvarez, but and then third game was how many innings. So I'm with you. I still believe in this Astros team for the most part, just with the experience that they have. But it could be the situation where this is finally the time where the Yankees climb the mountain and get rid of the demons of the last few years in this situation. So I think we're on the same page with that, at least tonight here.
I'm scared shitless. I just look at this now. The hardest part with me is I feel I can read the market with the best of them. And the hardest part in this business is not just the spaghetti strainer. It's but when you feel something, you get those weird feelings. And listen, I obviously want the Astros. You expect Verlander. You expect a potential bounce back spot. The Yankees are coming in exhausted, yada, 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 yada. Well, how come the number's not moving? Just, I want to know. Gambling Twitter, what the hell's going on here?
Movement, at least some type of life to some movement would at least, make you feel something for sure. So I think I'm with you. It might take a nice MVP Alvarez series to get this one done for the Astros. I don't know, but I don't know. Do you feel good about? I guess we'll flip it to this one for tonight's case. Do you feel good about Taillon in tonight's game as far as him having a nice performance, or you just more confident that maybe this is a rough outing for Verlander?
Well, I think we get back to the beginning of the season when you and I have talked about Cy Taillon. I mean, he was lights out. And then he was just a garbage bag, and they was just getting bombed all around. This game tonight makes no sense. If it was Cortez, if it was Cole, if it was anyone else, Ron Guidry, I don't care who the hell they pulled out. This is like Cy Verlander off of the worst performance of the year. Game 1, a fatigued Yankees team, bullpen shambles. You watch, it's going to be, a Rizzo homer. It's going to be a Stanton homer to right. It's going to be a Judge. This game makes zero sense. And I'm not telling anyone if the Astros lose to go run to the next game and take them even in the series, because you saw the Phillies went from plus 105 to minus 180 in the series.
Right.
Okay. So you take an Astro team that's minus 180, 185 in the series, you're going to get them at plus money after game one. So you're going to just sit back and wait. Mattress Max probably got $5 million invested to win $20 million. He's sitting here counting his chickens right now, and he can get Verlander does his job. Astros win game one. He can then go back and get the Yankees plus 3-1, put $3 million on it, and next thing you know, he's got $9 million on the other side. So I just smell rat here. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Cy crushes it. I hope, as you said, Alvarez goes yard. Altuve leads off the first with a homer, and I'm just totally wrong here.
I for your sake, I hope so. And yeah, I don't know. This Astro team, you always, well, whether it's you believe again, it's kind of the same situation as far as I don't think you and I are much of conspiracy people at all, but you kind of have that whether you believe it or not as far as the trash can stuff. It's like, all right, well, they seem to figure it out every single time in the most clutch moments, whether that's because they're cheating or not. Then maybe we feel like they're gonna feel confidence in them. I don't know, but as far as any home run looks for tonight's game, or even the rest of the game that's on right now.
Well, I mean, you got to start with the chalk. You got a righty going. I assume Alvarez. Let me see. I haven't seen the numbers. You're my prop guy. I would have to say Alvarez. They can't give you 2-1. I'll say Alvarez should be around plus 180.
Let's double check here. Alvarez plus 320.
He's not hitting a homer.
20. My
He's not
goodness.
hitting a homer.
Wow. Judge 280. Altuve 360, Kyle Tucker 430. Who was I going to say? Josh Donaldson's got some nice numbers against Verlander to some degree. He's at 520. That was going to be my suggestion, but I don't know. Maybe Altuve 360. I don't know what his odds typically are, but that one doesn't sound. The Alvarez at 320 though. That one is that's the most. He ain't hitting a home run I've ever seen. I don't know about you.
What is Rizzo?
480.
All right, so I mean, I would look at the lefties, obviously Alvarez. I would look at Tucker. I would look at Rizzo. This game just stinks to high heaven for me. It does.
Yeah, I've got no action on it. I have no action whatsoever. I've got some. I got a couple things on. Opening night for most of these NBA teams. So, anyways, though, I'm excited for tonight's game. Excited to watch the rest of this one. I hope it's when the last couple games that we've had have been kind of anticlimactic to some degree. So I'm ready for some sweaty postseason action today. I don't know about you.
NBA last night, chalk comes running home. If you had the first half 76ers, you can thank Mr. Harden for that. You cashed out with a tie. Celtics dominate the second half, get a little chippy. It's going to be a long year between these two teams there. The nightcap, the Lakers just look like last year's Lakers. Ring ceremony or not, Golden State takes care of business. They went from 3-1 to plus 250 to win it all. Opening night thoughts.
No, I don't have too much to add. I was, I took a mini little close to risk-free, just entertainment swing on some Lakers action last night, and it was mostly because you just looking back, Steve Kerr's tenure with the Warriors, they didn't have a ton of opening night success, but then you look over at LeBron's tenure with the Lakers, and it wasn't much different. So it was just a nice entertainment swing for the most part. But you're right, I was listening to you and Ski Profit earlier, and obviously, one of the more respected people that I respect in the NBA gambling space is just period, but even more so maybe for talking about Lakers and the way he was talking about him, the lack of confidence is spot on, honestly. And Russell Westbrook kind of shared the same thoughts he did. I used to be a huge fan, going up through high school and college. It was a lot of his Thunder days, and it was a ton of fun watching him. But right now, to get the maximum Russell Westbrook experience, you almost need to send him to. And OKC, any of these random smaller market teams that, are just trying to have a little fun and sell some tickets. because he could provide that. But on an actual team that's trying to go places, it's not working out. So, there's only so much LeBron can do. I think he had 30 points, and whether it was a triple double or close to triple double, there's only so much he can do, and he's not as imposing on managing the game as he used to be. But obviously, the Warriors looked fantastic. The drama that it's funny. The two teams that have had the most recent drama were the two teams that looked like they were meant to be back in the championship. The Celtics and Warriors, the two teams that were coming in with all this supposed drama, looked 100% fine. And you expect, given that, you kind of expect them to keep rolling right through this season. And maybe they have some bumps here and there, but yeah, I think the Sixers will. I hope they can figure things out from a Sixers perspective. It does seem that they're still, at the end of the day, a flawed team when you're putting them up against a Celtics team that looks like a well-oiled machine still. Hasn't skipped a beat from last year. It's really concerning. So obviously it's night one. You would expect them to. You would hope that they can improve on that and be a better team here in a few months. But unless that happens, it seems like it's going to be the same situation for them as it was the last 2 years. So unless some changes are made in both of those situations, Sixers still going to be a playoff team, top 6 team. I think that's, I don't know how debatable that is. Maybe it's debatable or not. I don't know. But the Lakers, obviously, if they can't figure something out and maybe probably some personnel change. I mean, LeBron admitted it himself last night. They need to find a different way to win because, they don't have a ton of shooters right now. And yes, you need to change given your personnel, but, there's a long season ahead of you. You can also make some moves that'll make your team a lot better. And I think that probably will happen, but the Lakers are, if they don't change anything, they could be staring at a losing season again here up and going into 2023 here. So Sixers, I think, will be all right, and they'll iron out and be a little bit better. But the Lakers, I don't know what to expect from the Lakers here going forward, Jeff.
And he brought up Buddy Hield. He brought up Miles Turner. It's an expiring, the way I understand it, and I could be totally wrong here. I think it's an expiring contract of like $40 million. So someone's going to be able to take him for 1 year and then just take a nice chunk off their cap going into next year. All along, the Lakers wanted Buddy Hield, and King LeBron said thanks, but no thanks. He went for the name. He went for the sizzle. A Miles Turner and a Buddy Hield would do wonders with this team. I just don't understand how, the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over and over and expecting different results. Now, I understand that it was a bad year, so they're hoping that maybe in the offseason and the start of a new fresh season, it's going to change. Ham comes in, he tells AD, "You're our center." Well, AD comes right out last week speaking third party and basically says, "I'm not a center." Well, we didn't say you're the number 5 and you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and we want you to do sky hooks and just get rebounds. Right. We understand that. Westbrook, you're coming off the bench. Well, the last preseason game, Westbrook gets out there off the bench and quote unquote pulls a ham. He can't come back to the game. So the divas are already flexing their muscles and it's not going to work.
No. It's and honestly, the NBA is you could argue it's a lot more fun when the Lakers are good, but I don't know. I like a lot of these guys individually in a lot of settings, but you're right. It's already becoming a soap opera, and LeBron himself was surprisingly candid and not that not salty after obviously it's only night one, but I think the body language of him, whether it's on the court or off the court, is going to only decrease going forward. And you mentioned Miles Turner and Buddy Hield. It's the other option is off the table that they whiffed on, but my guy DeMar DeRozan, you can say whatever you want about what that fit would have been, but I would argue it would at least have them in a better spot than they are with Russell Westbrook. That ship is obviously sailed. That's not happening. But yeah, Buddy Hield, I like Buddy. I think that would be an awesome move, and I think the Pacers would still be open to that because they have a chance to, tankathon as far as Mr. Victor is concerned. So I think they might be interested in doing something along those lines for sure this year.
All right, I'm going to try something here, and if it doesn't work, then we're just going to scrap this. So let me see if I can be smarter than the average dog here. Present, share screen. I'm going to try this so I can go back and forth. And if it works,
All
it
right.
works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. All right. This is our new screen right here. This is from our friend at Spanky Odds. Right now, this is the his version. It reminds me a lot of Don Best. It's got a lot more bells and whistles. So we have that up in front of us right now. And to the right, I have the wager talk here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to team totals here on those games. And let's see here. And we will go to the NBA and see what they do to us. Modern technology. Come on, Cletus. Still spinning its wheels. All right, so we have the board up here, the NBA board tonight. Again, there's 12 games up there. I guess my question, I'm going to throw the ball over to you and let you start. You don't have to go through all the games. You give me what you see. Go ahead.
Alrighty, I'm glitching a little bit. I don't know if that's just on my end or if that's because of the board here or not. But I will. Can you hear me? Okay. I don't know if can you hear me? Okay.
I got you now. I think it's because I got too much stuff spinning here. So I'm going to. I was trying to get up some team totals here, and it's not allowing me. So at this point, I will. Seen enough. Go ahead.
All right. Let's see. I am. Let's see. There's only 2 games that I've got some action on. I'll talk a couple other games because I'm interested in your thoughts as well. I heard you and Ski talking about tonight's game with Toronto. Can skip over that one. I like both of those teams. 100% agree with not enough people are interested in Cleveland. I had some interest in the under on their season win total. That's not hating on them whatsoever. Just seemed a little too good to be true. I do see them as a top 6-7 team for sure. Definitely a winning team. It wouldn't surprise me if they had some growing pains offensively to start the season, but it wouldn't shock me if I'm flat out wrong with that. I think they're a dangerous team, fantastic dark horse team, along with the Raptors. But I was a bigger proponent of the Raptors last year when their win total was in the mid-30s. They went way over that. Now they're kind of expected to take an even bigger jump, and I kind of disagree with that. I think they'll be in that low 40s. Just over 500 team again here this year. There is a lot of pieces I like there. You almost need Scotty Barnes to take a massive jump for them to take a huge jump themselves, and I don't know if that's the case here with them this year. The games that I'm interested in, Orlando and Detroit is one that I'm kind of interested in here, Jeff. And I talked to you. I'm high on this Detroit team, and maybe that's more of somewhat of a public play. Not necessarily tonight. I'm talking for the entire season here. Looking at this Orlando Magic team, though, season win total only a couple lower than Detroit's, and you look at the makeup of this team, and if you're somebody that's all over Detroit Pistons this year, and that includes me, the Orlando Magic are very similar, if not potentially even deeper and better than this Detroit team as far as on paper. So I think they're an under-the-radar team. I took a sprinkle on them over 27.5 for the entire season. Cole Anthony in year 3, Jalen Suggs now in year 2. Paolo Banchero, obviously. They've got some firepower. And if you watched them last year, they're a team that loves playing together, loves having fun, loves winning games. So I don't think they're going to be in that tank range. I think and the organization could obviously make some decisions that could stop that and put them more of in a tank spot. But I think the core of young players are ready to start winning some damn games. So I actually think they're live tonight. I've got them plus the 3 against Detroit. Seems like a lot of people are in love with Detroit. Like I said, I am one of those people on the entire season, but I don't think enough people are talking about how fun this Magic team might be. So just in general, on the entire first week, I'm not going too deep with anything, but I like the Magic a little bit here tonight to cover the 3 and maybe even upset the Pistons in Detroit tonight. What are you thinking on that one?
I'm looking at splits right now on Wager Talk right now, and let me see that again. My eyes just deceive me. 58% are the tickets on Detroit. 74% of the money on Detroit as well. Seems like a public play. The line has gone from 3.5. There was some reverse line movement at Circa
Right.
down to 2.5. So I think your eyes are spot on today. I like where you are in that game.
And yeah, and it's just funny because the narratives of these two teams are drastically different. But if you look at them on paper, I mean, if you want to buy into Kate Cunningham and David Knightley like I am, then obviously you can buy yourselves into Detroit. But yeah, this Magic team might be surprising people and might be in that. I think both these teams could be in the mid-30s and maybe not making the play-in tournament, but at least still kind of in our thoughts in the middle of March and maybe, kind of leaving the stage at the end of March as opposed to early February where all these other teams are tanking. So I'm on the Magic tonight, and that one going to it's not in Chicago, but my neck of the woods with the Bulls. Little concerned. It's 7.5 now. No Zach LaVine. A little concerned as far as what to expect from the Bulls here tonight. I've got a tiny little swing on the under 216 for that game. A couple reasons for that. I could either expect I'm really concerned about the Bulls offense, so I might even be interested in the Bulls team total under whatever it is. I think it's 104.5 or something along those lines. But as far as this Heat team is just a bad matchup for the Bulls, whether they're healthy or not. Obviously, they're not 100% healthy. No Lonzo or LaVine. Even if they are healthy, it's a bad matchup. Bam Adebayo has eaten Nikola Vucevic's lunch time and time again. And so it's essentially, I think the Bulls offense is going to struggle here tonight. I think the best way that the Bulls can stay in this game is if Miami is just coming out cold offensively, honestly, and not hitting their shots, really. So kind of what led me to hesitate on the spread, because I do think Miami has a good chance of covering it, even though it's kind of a hefty number there. But one way or another, I either see this kind of being a 195 type game and both teams' offenses are struggling, or the Heat just beat the doors off of the Bulls and it's kind of in that 115 to 95 range, and they're putting us to bed early. So that's kind of where I'm at with the under on this one. And then the other one, as far as my prop of the day, I'm going to be doing should be doing a blog every single game for the Bulls, just one best bet for Chi City Sports, the local Chicago website there. Not the same value as when I caught it yesterday. Ayo Dosunmu is going to be starting today for the Bulls. I caught yesterday over 3.5 assists at plus 100. Without Zach LaVine, that number has now shot up to 4.5 plus money. Still kind of obviously not the same edge that I caught, but the thought process with that one is we've always talked about the biggest stars in the league obviously have their point totals inflated. Some of these other role players, they kind of just set them right at their season average. In middle of the season, it's obviously whatever the middle of the season average is. In this case, it's kind of last season's average, and that's exactly where Ayo was. 8.5 points was the point total, 3.5 in the assists, and kind of reflected his season averages. But in his case, if you look deeper, you've got a clear almost 50-50 split of him as a starter and as a bench player, whereas when he's a bench player, it's 6 points per game, 1.5 assists per game or something along those lines. And as a starter where he's getting over 30 minutes a game, it's 11 points a game and 5.5 assists per game. So even at the 4.5, I think it's not a terrible spot to get. Obviously would love it if it's still down at 3.5. But that was my prop of the day. For the old Bulls there. So those are I'm more than happy to continue talking about those games, but those are my 3 plays that I've got for tonight is Orlando plus the points, the Bulls and Heat under, and then Ayo Dosunmu to grab at least 4 assists over here on the Bulls and Heat game.
I'm going to give the games my eye test on the market, and I just want your reflections.
Sure.
I think the Memphis line is low. Now, listen, New York 2 years ago had a great year. Last year, they were not that good. Memphis, we all know about Ja and just the steam. Yet that line opened at 4. There are some hints. Actually, no. I was going to say it's 4 minus 115 at Chris, which says it's going to 4.5. Everywhere else, it's at 0.5, meaning 3.5. Am I crazy to like and lean the Knicks plus the 4 here?
I don't think you're crazy at all on this one. No Jaren Jackson. I don't think we've got for the Grizzlies, and no Zaire Williams. Doubtful for Dylan Brooks. So they're just not as deep as they were. If you remember last year, the narrative was, or one of the narratives, along with John Morant, is they still had a ton of success without John Morant. I don't remember what the record was without him, but even when he went down, they were still a really solid team, straight up and against the number. But now, I love John Morant. He's one of my favorite players to watch. But now you've got three pretty key players out in this one. I think it's definitely no, you're not crazy at all. I think the Knicks have a solid chance of pulling off the upset in this one. And obviously you got the debut of Brunson. I'm not buying into that as much as other people are as going into a frenzy. I do think that helps them a little bit though. And I can see RJ Barrett taking a nice leap this year. So you're not crazy at all. I can see where your eyes are at for sure with that one.
Sizzle or steak here. Brooklyn opened, the actual number was 4. I'm seeing 2.5s everywhere. There's a 3 at Chris. The sizzle, obviously, Zion, the return of Zion, and this pretty loaded Pelicans team. I think they're going to be a fun team to watch. I think one of the most popular tickets, obviously, is the Pelicans to make the playoffs. A Brooklyn Nets team, again, the wild card of all wild cards. We talked about it with Ski this morning. You got a KD, you got a Kyrie. I have no idea what to expect from Ben Simmons. I do know we saw a couple of the videos of him just laying more bricks. I mean, Westbrook and Ben Simmons, I mean, starting their own Mason company for sure there, comparing those two. Isn't the value on the Nets, or you buying the sizzle with the Zion and the Pelicans tonight?
Man, I don't know. This one, this is one of the ones I'm most excited to watch, but have no interest in getting involved with them, if I'm being totally honest with you, because I like on paper what the Pelicans are building. Still don't know what it's going to show up and look like tonight, obviously, or for the season. So I'm going to wait and see on them. But also with the Nets, as far as, I mean, at the end of the season, they get bounced by the Celtics. Yeah, all 4 games were a little closer than people remember for sure, but they had some legitimate flaws. So I'm a big believer. Say whatever you want, whether you like him or not. I'm not saying I love the guy, but big believer of when Kevin Durant's rolling and playing at his best that he can lead a team. But I'm staying far away from this one tonight. I am so excited to wait and see, because if the Nets come out and they give up 130 points, then we're going to be talking the way we were talking to start the show about last night's Sixers and Lakers situation. 3 different situations, but all had their own stink to them about them, basically. So I'm waiting and seeing. If the Nets come out and look fantastic, maybe we wait and see a couple games to see if they can roll it, and maybe they're a different team this year. But I'm waiting and seeing completely on that one tonight.
Ski asked me, why is Pop still hanging around? And then we started putting 2 and 2 together. I mean, listen, Mr. Robinson, Tim Duncan, Ski asked, is he going to be tank Pops for 1 year and get the number 1 pick? And can you pronounce the guy's name one more time?
Oh, geez, I butcher it every single time. I say I'm just leaning towards Wemby these days. I don't know. I haven't actually heard someone say it accurately, so I was relying on it's Wembanyama is what it looks like. So I don't know.
I go by Wembayama. That's what I say.
Close enough. The dude, it appears the dude is worth it though, and really I don't know what other path to getting back into relevancy the Spurs have. I mean, there's other franchises that are kind of like that. I think the Pacers will be in that mix. I'm drawing a blank on maybe 2 or 3 of the other teams at the current moment. But, yeah, I think the Spurs are definitely trying to get in there. I mean, have you ever seen a coach come out and in his press conference say, do not bet on us to win the championship, or whatever the hell he says? And some people are like, whoa, maybe mind games. Maybe they're going to be, the surprise team. No, I don't think so. This team, I'm just looking at their lineup. I had some just entertainment, some freebies on a preseason action and caught one of their games. It is going to be it is maybe the least watchable team as from an on-paper standpoint and an excitement standpoint as we have in the league, like Indiana. If you're a college fan, I've got Chris Duarte that I'm at least excited to watch here. But maybe I'm not giving anybody credit on the Spurs team, but it's going to be ugly. It is going to be ugly, and they're going to be a flat-out bad basketball team this year.
Okay, so the basic overnight number was Charlotte -3. It's now 1 and a pick. I'm not saying people are running to the windows and betting on the Spurs. Another comical thing is the actual number over under was 231. The adjusted corrected number is 221. And I know there's no reason to play this game, but wouldn't common sense lean Charlotte? I mean, I'm not diving there. I'm asking you there. I mean, we know what to expect from the Spurs, but
I think so, but the Hornets have their own. I mean, we're talking about drama. The last week or so, they've got James Bouknight. You can help me out with the pronunciation of him as far as his issues. You got Bridges and his issues. People are really concerned about this Hornets team, and I on the contrast, if they're bad, it's at least going to be a little bit more entertaining level of bad than the Spurs with the guys that they have. But I don't know. There's the NBA audience is getting a little bit older, and they're kind of getting into that 21 range, and that age group below my age group is infatuated with LaMelo Ball. So anytime I see a line that's easy to take the Hornets, I pump the brakes a little bit. So I'm not saying I'm taking the Spurs by any means, but I don't know. I actually am I kind of have a no skin in the game. If I had to do anything, maybe I'd take the Spurs and plug my nose. But I'm far out on this one for sure here. I'm not disagreeing with you though at all.
All right, the real Tankapalooza obviously is with Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz. In come the Nuggets, and number of 8 and 217 last night. We're seeing 6.5 as the consensus. A corrected number at 225. Now, with that said. Obviously, I think initially I can say with confidence I expect Denver to win. Do they cover the 6.5? Number one. Is it easier just to take the over 225? I know you're not getting the 217.5. No one got that number, by the way. It's what the number says now. It's 225. Is this one of these you get cute and you take Denver at 6.5? They win by 5 and the game goes at 240.
I think it might be. I don't know. I mean, I think Utah, they're absolutely the team that are obviously tanking. I think they might have a little bit of life to them to start the season, and maybe Danny will dish some of these guys, get these guys out of town to put them deeper into that tank range. Because you look at their starting 5, and Sexton's going to be there for a minute, but Sexton, Mike Conley, my former Chicago Bull, Lauri Markkanen. Maybe these guys are firing on night 1, so I don't know if it would be if you're fading the public, you'd be taking the Jazz on the number, but because it's another one where people are buying into Denver the way they're the health that's coming back to them. Getting Jamal Murray back is going to be huge. A lot of people are really really high on them for the entire season. So on night 1 against the Tankathon Jazz, I don't know. I'm not. It's another one where you have to plug your nose if you're taking the Jazz, but I don't know. Fade the public, but take the Jazz might be interesting me here.
All right, I think probably if I look at the board, honestly, you might say the Pelicans and the Nets. I think if I look at the board, I'll just go on record say the game of the night is probably in Phoenix, Dallas, and Phoenix. You got what people think is the MVP of the year, Luka, at around plus 450. Kind of sort of has his way with the Suns. Now, the Suns, I think, will be a little pissed off in this game. 5.5 overnight, 216.5. You're looking at a 217.5 or 218.4. Does this the perfect? Let me do the quick math here. 113, no, not even like a 112, 108. I'm trying to say where this lands on 4 and 218. That's where I'm going with this.
Right. I think I'm not. Yeah, this one I'm going to be enjoying because I mean the Suns have their own another team you want to talk about a little drama as far as what's going on with DeAndre Ayton and his feelings toward the team. You could mention that for sure. But you mentioned it. They've had past a few days. They've had 5 months to sit in their, excuse my language, sit in their shit of a 33-point Game 7 loss in Phoenix in the playoffs when they're the number 1 seed. So you would expect them to be very upset tonight and come out with a vengeance. But at the same time, you've got, like you said, Luka. Not only Luka, but Luka trying to prove some stuff himself as far as him and this Mavs team. So it wouldn't surprise me if Dallas had a really nice night, and maybe Dallas is we're not giving Dallas enough credit on the season altogether, or. Yeah, I don't know. If I'm going anywhere, I guess I'm going the Suns because of the motivation factor here. But I'll watch this from an entertainment standpoint and see if the Suns got the same fire, because it wouldn't shock me if they regress a little bit after what they did last year in the regular season.
I have some good news for you, by the way. We have no trip to Yukon on Friday. My daughter has decided she'd rather hang out with their friends and celebrate her birthday and a few others' birthday on the weekend. And she's going to come home as we get ready for the cruise. So you have an extra day to set up the Big Ten review.
I think I could do it right now if I had to, if I'm being totally honest with you. I was ready early this week with a couple of these games.
There is one college football game, Georgia State at App State. A game opened at 10, now App State 9. I personally think App State's living off of their last year's laurels, the last couple of games. A total that opened at 62 to 60 and a half. Any thoughts anywhere on that game?
It's another one that I had this conference I haven't had a ton of success with. And my most success in these weekday games, whether it's the Sun Belt or the MAC and these Wednesday night games throughout the season, is these underdogs aren't this big of a – this shouldn't be this big of an underdog is kind of how I always feel with most of these games. So if I'm going anywhere, I guess I'm taking a sprinkle on the dog. But, I don't have the strongest thoughts by any means. You look at the head-to-head, and App State's been dominating this one for a while, so maybe that's what you lean on. I don't know. But like I said, haven't had a ton of success this year in the Sun Belt. But, on these Wednesday night games, these smaller conferences, I miss my MAC, obviously. Big Ten country, MAC country over here. But, I don't know. A lot of times I like taking the dogs in these matchups. It's App State, 3-3? You mentioned kind of sitting on some of the laurels that they've had, and obviously had some awesome the Texas A&M win earlier this year. So that's going to skew their lines quite a bit in these Sun Belt games. So I guess I'll go on record and say I'm leaning towards the old Georgia State Panthers catching or taking the 9 points there.
I'm looking here. I'll close with this. I got a couple things I'm going to throw at you. This gentleman here has for us. Buddy Hield, points. Over 16.5 or under 17.5.
Oh, boy. For tonight's game or on the season, point per game?
I'm going to say it's tonight's game.
Yeah, it's got to be it. I was just making sure because I saw some books had 16.5 for tonight's game. He might be trying to showcase himself. I'll take the over on that one. I don't know. That one I haven't dove too deep into that one. That game, Pacers and Wizards could be a goofy one. Pacers, like I said, this Pacers team is conflicting to me because I definitely think they should be in that tank conversation with the market that they're in. That's it's tough to build a contender in these smaller markets, but I like some of their pieces that they have just as an individual standpoint. So they'll probably move on from a couple of them. But Halliburton's the other guy we didn't mention. Not saying tonight I'm taking him, but I like Tyrese Halliburton as far as a nice building block for him, though, just in general.
It's funny because I was going to bring him up next. Under over 15 and a hook tonight.
That seems high.
And I'll tell you this. It's juiced minus 140 to the over.
Really? Let me get crazy and go alternate 20 points, and maybe it's some nice plus money. I don't know. That one, I'm not touching that game. Maybe that one finds its way to my league pass night. But I'm excited for that Cleveland and Raptors game. Watched a lot of both those teams last year, and Fred VanVleet. I'm a massive fan of Fred VanVleet coming from my home area. I've been watching him since high school, so I'm huge fan of him. I'm hoping he has some nice success. I'm excited to watch the Pelicans. I've been a fan of Brandon Ingram. I've been a fan of Zion Williamson. I hope CJ McCollum has a nice finish to his career. I was a fan of his in Portland. So, and then that Dallas and Phoenix game should be a fun one. I guess the last one, Portland and Sacramento. Are you buying? A lot of people are not saying the Kings are going to be a winning team by any means, but a lot of people have them better than I guess I would have them, just in the grand scheme of the NBA, and they're a favorite tonight against the Blazers. What do you make of them in general and tonight's game against the Blazers?
I've heard mixed feelings. My contacts in Sacramento, they're expecting bigger and better things. Then you listen to a lot of people on Gambling Twitter, and they're expecting a big bounce back from Portland this year.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with them, at least.
Yeah, and it was a number overnight, number of 1, which is now 2.5. There is a 3 hanging around there. Basically, in a nutshell, is, you know, I like home openers. I like home teams. Every time, I'll be honest, we have kryptonite on every sport, every level.
Yeah.
If I take Damian Lillard, he sucks. He sucks pond
Really?
water. And when I go against him, they make commercials on him because he's looking at his wrist.
Oh, jeez. Stay far away from me then, because that's one of my favorite players in the entire damn league, and I've got he's a dark horse MVP for me. He's like my long shot for the MVP this year. So I'm gonna we'll keep his name off of the show for for that sake. But no, I don't know the underdog spot though to open things up after, like you said, a lot of people are expecting a nice bounce back from them. So. But Kings seems to be a nice trendy pick tonight though. So I'm torn on that one, but I've got no action on it tonight.
All right, so tomorrow is Thursday. I'll be hanging around the office tonight. I make my debut on Sports Grid with Dubsy at 11:19 to like 11:30, somewhere around there, East Coast time. So we'll be doing some work for tomorrow. We'll be getting some notes ready for the show. I'll be wrapping up some waiver wire action for the NFFC tomorrow. We will go business as usual. I'm pretty well free. I'll probably reach out to you. I'm not sure of Scotty's schedule yet. Again, I will probably do maybe a potential midday spot. Get ready for there's a Monday night, a NFL game, the return of D-Hop, the Cardinals versus the Saints. There we'll have some college football. We'll have some NBA. And we'll be getting ready. We'll have some MLB, and we'll be getting ready for the weekend. Obviously, Friday morning, your weekly Big Ten review. In the afternoon, early afternoon, Zaid Hussein will be coming on. A huge UFC card, huge.
Yeah.
So make sure you have your notes ready as well, because you can talk some UFC as well with you on Friday. And then I'll figure out the weekend. Like I said, my head's spinning like Carrie right now. If I had any hair left, it looked like Don King. I'm spending like 15 hours a day now in the new shop. So
hey,
I'm going to just bring a pillow and a blanket and crash here. That's all.
I mean, especially with these, now you got the late night basketball on and these baseball games. I'm sure there'll be a late night, at least one, I guess maybe not, but probably a late night West Coast game. Who knows? But anyways, it's a beauty of a place that you've, at least from what you've sent me. So I'm, the week's rolling along. We got through the one take, got the second take nice and rolling, 53 minutes. So I don't think we've got too much to complain about today.
From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one, the only Mr. Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Listen, guys, there's baseball around the clock tonight. The real NBA opening night tonight. NHL, a short slate. College football. We're just warming up tomorrow, getting closer to the weekend. Some NFL back. Huge UFC card for the weekend. Full college slate, full NFL slate. We'll keep you covered here at EC Sports Invest and East Coast Sports. So everyone, have a night. Enjoy yourself, and we'll catch back in the morning.